Welcome to Patagonia, the wild frontier at the edge of South America. Land of towering glaciers, jagged peaks, icy winds, and untamed beauty. From Perito Moreno Glacier to Fitzroy's dramatic skyline, this is where adventure meets nature at its fiercest. Patagonia doesn't announce itself quietly. It arrives with wind in your face, light flashing off distant ice, and a feeling that the edge of the world is closer than you think. One moment you're standing on solid ground, and the next, the land seems to stretch forever, empty, raw, and alive. This is Patagonia. Not a city in the traditional sense, but a vast southern realm shared by Argentina and Chile, where nature is the main character and humans are just passing guests. If you've ever dreamed of a place that feels untouched, cinematic, and slightly unreal, this is it. Patagonia is where mountains tear through the clouds, where Patagonia breathe and crack like living creatures, and where silence can be louder than any city street. This is a journey to the far south of the Americas, a place that feels ancient, mysterious, and deeply humbling. Patagonia spans thousands of miles, stretching from the Andes Mountains down to the southern tip of South America. It includes turquoise lakes, endless steppe, dense forests, dramatic fjords, and massive ice fields. There's no single skyline here, no central downtown. Instead, the city of Patagonia is built from landscapes: Torres del Paine's granite towers, the Perito Moreno Glacier, the windswept plains of Santa Cruz, and the rugged channels near Tierra del Fuego. Small towns like El Calafate, El Chaltén, Punta Arenas, and Ushuaia serve as gateways. They are humble, practical, and shaped by the environment. Life here revolves around weather reports, hiking boots, and stories shared over hot meals. Patagonia doesn't try to impress you. It simply exists, and that's what makes it unforgettable. Long before borders and passports, Patagonia belonged to indigenous peoples like the Tehuelche, Mapuche, Selknam, and Yaol stands as beautiful, and that is only any place and star. These groups survived some of the harshest conditions on Earth, navigating vast distances, on foot and by canoe. They followed animals, seasons, and the rhythms of the land. Their knowledge of wind, stars, and terrain was precise and spiritual. When European explorers arrived in the 16th century, they were stunned by both the scale of the land and the people who lived there. In this way, honor of old and wild life never. Ferdinand Magellan, sailing these waters in 1520, named the region Patagonia, possibly inspired by myths of giants. To Europeans, this place felt mythical, too big, too wild to be real. Colonization came slowly, but brutally. Indigenous populations were decimated by disease, violence, and displacement. Sheep farming reshaped the landscape. Borders were drawn across territories that never belonged to nations. Patagonia became a frontier, romanticized, exploited, and misunderstood. Yet, despite everything, the land never fully surrendered. Patagonia's landmarks aren't buildings, they're forces of nature. Torres del Paine National Park rises like a dream. The granite towers glow pink at sunrise and burn orange at sunset. Guanacos wander freely across the valleys. Lakes reflect the sky so clearly they feel like portals. The Perito Moreno Glacier is one of the few glaciers in the world still advancing. You can hear it before you see it, a deep crack like thunder. Massive walls of ice collapse into the water, sending waves across the lake. It's loud, violent, and beautiful. Mount Fitzroy near El Chaltén looks almost unreal, its jagged peaks slicing into the sky. Climbers from around the world come here, drawn by challenge and legend. Even if you never climb it, just standing beneath it feels powerful. Farther south, the Beagle Channel winds between islands and mountains. Penguins line the shores. Sea lions bark from rocky outcrops. This is the gateway to Antarctica, where the world feels thin and fragile. Beyond the famous spots, Patagonia hides quieter magic. There are unnamed trails where you won't see another person all day. Small estancias, working ranches, where families have lived for generations, raising sheep and horses in near isolation. Tiny roadside cafes where the coffee is strong, the pastries are homemade, and the stories last longer than the meal. In Chilean Patagonia, fjords cut deep into the land. You can kayak through waters so still they mirror entire mountains. In Argentina's steppe, the horizon seems endless, broken only by fences and distant hills. There are moments here that don't photograph well, but stay with you forever, like the way the wind never fully stops, or how the stars feel closer at night, as if the sky is leaning in to listen. Patagonian culture is shaped by distance and endurance. People here are practical, warm, and quietly proud. They don't rush conversations. They respect. It seems that the English culture was fighting. It seems changing what it could happen, and its craving was all what it had. Lamb, roasted slowly over open fire, is a regional classic. Empanadas are everywhere, each place claiming theirs is the best. In the cold, nothing beats a bowl of stew and fresh bread. End of apples. Music, folklore, and storytelling are deeply rooted in rural life. In the evenings, locals gather to share mart, a bitter herbal drink passed hand to hand. It's not about the drink itself, it's about connection. Despite the isolation, there's a strong sense of community. When roads close or storms hit, people help each other. Patagonia teaches you that survival is easier when shared. Modern Patagonia is changing, slowly but noticeably. Tourism has become a lifeline and a challenge. Backpackers, photographers, and filmmakers arrive year-round, chasing the perfect shot or the perfect hike. Towns like El Chaltén have grown from quiet outposts into adventure hubs. Cafes serve craft beer and specialty coffee. Outdoor gear shops line the streets. Wi-Fi exists, but it's unreliable, and somehow that feels right. There's tension here between preservation and progress. Locals want jobs and infrastructure, but they also want to protect what makes Patagonia special. The land still leads the conversation. Development moves at its pace, not ours. Patagonia has its darker stories. Sailors have vanished in these waters. Climbers have disappeared into storms that arrived without warning. Entire indigenous cultures were nearly erased in silence. The wind here can be relentless, strong enough to knock you off your feet. Weather can shift in minutes from calm to chaos. This is not a place you conquer. It's a place you negotiate with. There's also a quiet mystery in how Patagonia makes people feel. Many visitors describe a sense of longing when they leave, like they've abandoned something important. Some return again and again. A few never leave. Maybe it's the scale, maybe it's the isolation, or maybe Patagonia reminds us how small we really are and how freeing that can be. Section 9. If you're planning a trip to Patagonia, preparation is everything. Go between October and March for the best weather, but expect unpredictability. Pack layers, windproof jackets, and good boots. Don't underestimate distances. Things look close on maps but take hours to reach. Base yourself in gateway towns. Use local guides for remote areas. Respect park rules. Leave no trace. Patagonia's beauty depends on restraint. Take your time. Don't rush from highlight to highlight. Some of the best moments happen when plans fall apart, when a storm delays you, or a local invites you in for coffee. My opinion, Patagonia is not for everyone, and that's exactly why it matters. It's uncomfortable at times. It's inconvenient. It doesn't cater to you. But if you let it, Patagonia will change the way you think about travel, nature, and yourself. This isn't a place you visit to escape reality. It's a place that strips reality down to its essentials: wind, water, stone, time. Patagonia doesn't need you to understand it. It just asks that you listen. And when you finally leave, with dust on your boots and silence in your memory, you'll realize something quietly powerful. The edge of the world isn't an ending. Sometimes it's a beginning. There are places that whisper to you. And then there are places like El Chaltén that call out, loud, wild, and impossible to ignore. The first thing you notice isn't the town. It's the mountains, jagged, towering, almost aggressive. They rise straight out of the earth like something unfinished, like the planet stopped shaping itself halfway through and said, "This is enough." The wind hits you hard, as if to test your intentions. And in that moment, you understand something very clearly. El Chaltén does not exist for comfort. It exists for awe. It is 10 every time you cannot. Welcome to El Chaltén, Argentina's trekking capital, a tiny village at the edge of Patagonia, where the world feels bigger, older, and more honest. This is not a place you pass through casually. This is a place that asks something of you: your legs, your patience, your respect, and gives back far more than you expect. El Chaltén sits in southern Argentina, in the province of Santa Cruz, tucked inside Los Glaciares National Park. It's small, barely a few thousand residents, and yet it feels like the center of something monumental. The town lies beneath Mount Fitzroy and Cerro Torre, two of the most dramatic peaks on the planet. There's no airport here, no rush hour traffic. One main road leads in, and the mountains decide when you arrive. Most people come from El Calafate, driving hours across open steppe where the landscape feels endless and empty. End quote.
31 pounds ask. The scars tied.
Then suddenly, the road curves, the horizon sharpens, and El Chaltén appears, humble buildings dwarfed by stone giants. This town exists because of geography and politics as much as passion. Founded in 1985, El Chaltén was established partly to strengthen Argentina's claim over the region near the Chilean border. But over time, it evolved into something else entirely: a base camp for dreamers, hikers, climbers, and anyone searching for the raw edge of the natural world. Long before El Chaltén had a name on a map, this land belonged to the Tehuelche people. They called Mount Fitzroy Chaltén, meaning smoking mountain, because clouds often wrapped its summit like drifting smoke. To them, the mountain was alive, a powerful spirit that controlled the weather. Life here was never easy. The wind never rests. Winters are brutal. Yet the Tehuelche moved through this land with deep understanding, following guanacos and reading the sky like a language. When Europeans arrived, they misunderstood this place, calling it empty and uninhabitable. History, as it often does, favored conquest over wisdom. The modern town of El Chaltén is young, but the land beneath it is the land beneath it beyond comprehension. Every trail you walk crosses stories thousands of years old, even if no signposts mention them. El Chaltén's landmarks aren't spread across the town, they surround it. Mount Fitzroy dominates everything. Sharp, jagged, and intimidating, it's one of the most iconic mountains in the world. Climbers consider it among the hardest ascents on Earth. For everyone else, it's a constant presence, shifting colors with the light. Pink at sunrise, silver in storms, black against a star-filled sky. Cerro Torre stands nearby, slimmer and more mysterious, often wrapped in clouds like it's hiding a secret. Its history is filled with controversy, failed ascents, and legends of obsession. Even today, it feels untouchable. Laguna de los Tres is the most famous hike in the region. The final ascent is steep and punishing, but when you reach the top, the reward is overwhelming. A turquoise lake beneath Fitzroy's spires, glaciers hanging above it like frozen waves. People stand there silently, some crying, some laughing, all changed in small ways. Laguna Torre offers a different mood. Wide, windy, and dramatic. Icebergs drift across the water, carved from the massive glacier at the far end. It feels quieter, more reflective, like a conversation whispered instead of shouted.
Beyond the famous trails, El Chaltén hides subtler wonders. There are short hikes like Mirador de los Condores, where you can watch massive condors glide effortlessly on rising air currents. No flapping, just patience and precision. It's humbling. Chorrillo del Salto, a waterfall just outside town, reminds you that beauty doesn't always require suffering. Sometimes it's close, accessible, and still powerful. There are backcountry routes where trail markers disappear, and the land feels untamed again. Places where the only sounds are wind through grass and distant cracking ice.
These are the moments where El Chaltén feels less like a destination and more like a state of mind. Even in town, magic hides in plain sight. Sunsets that set the mountains on fire. Sudden rainbows after storms. The way clouds move so fast they seem alive. The people of El Chaltén are a mix of locals, long-term wanderers, and seasonal workers from around the world. Many came for a few months and stayed for years. Some never left. There's a shared understanding here. The mountains decide the schedule. If the weather's good, everything else waits. Jobs pause, meals get delayed, plans fall apart, and no one complains. Conversations often begin with weather reports and trail conditions. Boats are always muddy, jackets hang everywhere. Life here revolves around movement and recovery. Walk, eat, sleep, repeat. Food is simple but satisfying. Hearty breakfasts, big plates of pasta and meat, craft beer brewed with glacial water. After a long hike, nothing tastes better than warmth and calories. There's a quiet camaraderie among travelers. You might hike all day with strangers and share dinner by nightfall. Stories flow easily here. So does humility. Despite its remote feel, El Chaltén is very much alive in the modern world. Tourism fuels the town. New hostels, lodges, and cafes appear each season. Wi-Fi exists, but it's unreliable. Power outages happen. And strangely, that feels appropriate. There's a constant tension between growth and preservation. Trails erode. Waste management struggles. The popularity of El Chaltén has forced difficult conversations about sustainability. Yet there's also hope. Park regulations improve. Local guides educate visitors. More travelers arrive with respect, not just ambition. El Chaltén is learning how to survive its own success without losing its soul. This place has a darker edge. The weather here has claimed lives. Storms arrive without warning. Winds can reach terrifying speeds. Climbers disappear. Rescues fail. The mountains are beautiful, but they are not forgiving. Cerro Torre, in particular, carries a haunted reputation. Decades of disputed ascents, broken dreams, and fierce debates have turned it into a symbol of obsession. It reminds us how thin the line is between passion and destruction. There's also a quiet psychological intensity here. Days of isolation, physical exhaustion, and overwhelming scenery can crack something open inside you. For some, it's healing. For others, unsettling. El Chaltén doesn't offer escape, it offers confrontation. If you're planning to visit El Chaltén, come prepared, but stay flexible. The best time to go is between November and March. The weather is unpredictable year-round. Bring layers. Windproof everything. Don't underestimate easy hikes. They're still Patagonia. Most trails start directly from town, which is rare and incredible. No permits required for day hikes, but respect the park rules. Carry water, food, and patience. Give yourself rest days. Let storms pass. Talk to locals. Adjust plans without frustration. And remember, the goal isn't to conquer every trail. It's to experience the place fully, even when that means doing nothing at all. El Chaltén is one of the most honest places I've ever encountered. It doesn't pretend to be easy. It doesn't care about your schedule or your expectations. It rewards effort, humility, and curiosity, but punishes arrogance. This is not a place for checklist travel. It's a place for presence. El Chaltén teaches you to slow down by forcing you to stop, to listen to wind, to accept uncertainty, to respect limits, both yours and nature's. And when you leave, legs sore, camera full, heart heavier than you expected, you'll realize something quietly profound. Some places don't just show you the world, they show you yourself. And El Chaltén is one of them. There is a sound you never forget once you hear it. It's deep, sudden, almost violent, like thunder cracking open the sky, except the sky is clear, and the noise comes from ice. That sound is Perito Moreno Glacier breathing. Standing here, you don't feel like a visitor. You feel small, insignificant, like you've accidentally stepped into a moment that has been unfolding for thousands of years and will continue long after you leave. The glacier doesn't rush. It doesn't pose. It doesn't care that you're watching. And somehow, that makes the experience overwhelming. Welcome to Perito Moreno Glacier, one of the most powerful natural spectacles on Earth, hidden deep in Argentine Patagonia. This is not just something you see, it's something you feel, in your chest, in your bones, in the silence that follows every crack of falling ice. Perito Moreno Glacier lies inside Los Glaciares National Park, near the small town of El Calafate in southern Argentina. It stretches for nearly 20 miles, and rises over 240 feet above the surface of Lago Argentino, with even more ice hidden beneath the waterline. Unlike most glaciers on the planet, Perito Moreno is not retreating. It is stable, sometimes even advancing. That alone makes it extraordinary in a world where ice is disappearing faster every year. The landscape around it feels deliberately dramatic. Turquoise water, snow-dusted peaks, sharp Patagonian light that shifts constantly with passing clouds. Wooden walkways curve along cliffs facing the glacier, offering views that feel impossibly close, yet safely distant. This isn't wilderness you have to hike days to reach. You can stand here in hiking boots or sneakers and witness one of Earth's most dynamic forces in real time. Long before this glacier had a name recognized by maps and governments, it was part of the world of the Tehuelche people. They moved through this region with deep respect for ice, water, and wind, understanding them not as obstacles, but as living elements. The glacier's modern name comes from Francisco Perito Moreno, an Argentine explorer, scientist, and politician who played a key role in mapping Patagonia during the late 19th century. He advocated for national parks long before conservation was popular, believing this land should be protected for future generations. Ironically, Moreno never actually visited the glacier that bears his name. Yet his legacy lives on here, in the preservation of this place, in the decision to let nature remain dominant rather than conquered. Perito Moreno Glacier stands today, not because humans built it, but because they stepped back. The glacier itself is the landmark, and it is constantly changing. Its surface is a chaotic landscape of jagged ice towers, deep blue crevasses, and snow-covered ridges. The ice glows in shades of white, turquoise, and deep sapphire, depending on light and density. Every color tells a story of pressure, age, and time. One of Perito Moreno's most famous features is its periodic damming of the lake. As the glacier advances, it blocks the flow of water, causing pressure to build. Eventually, the ice ruptures in a dramatic collapse, sending massive chunks crashing into the lake below. This process, known as rupture, can take days or happen in minutes. No schedule, no warning. Visitors sometimes wait hours in silence, eyes fixed on the ice, hoping to witness it. And when it happens, it's unforgettable. Beyond the main viewing platforms, Perito Moreno offers quieter ways to connect. Boat tours glide close to the glacier's towering face, making its scale almost frightening. From the water, the ice walls feel endless, stretching beyond your field of vision. The cold air smells clean, metallic, ancient. Ice trekking tours allow visitors to step onto the glacier itself. With crampons strapped on, you walk across a surface shaped by centuries, listening to water flow beneath your feet, peering into blue ice caves that look unreal. And sometimes, the most powerful experience is simply standing still, letting the wind hit your face, letting the silence stretch, waiting for the glacier to speak again. The culture around Perito Moreno is deeply tied to respect for nature. Guides here aren't just tour leaders, they're storytellers, educators, and guardians. They talk about climate change without drama, letting the ice itself make the point. They emphasize safety, patience, and humility. In nearby El Calafate, life revolves around the glacier. Restaurants serve hearty Patagonian meals, lamb, stews, fuel for cold days. Souvenir shops sell ice-themed trinkets, but the real souvenirs are memories. People here understand that the glacier is not entertainment, it's a responsibility. Modern life has found a careful balance at Perito Moreno. Boardwalks are designed to minimize environmental impact while maximizing access. Rules are strict, Litter is rare. Tourism is controlled, though growing. Technology helps monitor the glacier's movement and stability. Scientists study it closely, using it as a benchmark to understand how glaciers respond differently to climate pressures. Yet even with data, models, and measurements, Perito Moreno remains unpredictable. It reminds us that nature cannot be fully explained, only observed. There is something deeply unsettling about watching a glacier collapse. The sound is explosive. The water churns violently. Ice the size of buildings shatters into fragments and disappears within seconds. It's beautiful, and it's terrifying. Because in that moment, you realize how powerful this force is, and how powerless we are against it. The glacier does not fall for you. It falls because physics, pressure, and time decide its time. And while Perito Moreno is stable today, the world around it is not. Many glaciers nearby are shrinking. Some have already vanished. Standing here feels like witnessing a survivor. If you plan to visit Perito Moreno Glacier, timing matters, but luck matters more. You can visit year-round, though spring and summer offer better access and longer days. Dress warmly. Wind cuts through everything. Bring patience. Collapse events cannot be scheduled. Arrive early. Walk slowly along the platforms. Sit. Listen. Don't rush to photograph every angle. If you choose a boat or ice trek, go with licensed operators. Follow rules carefully. This environment demands respect. And remember, the goal is not to see everything, it's to feel something. Perito Moreno Glacier is one of the last places on Earth that still feels truly alive. Not alive like forests or animals, but alive like a heartbeat. Slow, powerful, relentless. It doesn't inspire excitement the way cities do. It inspires humility. It forces you to confront time on a scale we rarely consider. It reminds you that the planet is not fragile because it is weak, but because it is complex. It's moving faster as the universe community called Soul. Standing here, watching ice fall into water that will eventually reach the ocean, you understand how connected everything is. This is not just a destination, it's a lesson. And when you walk away, long after the sound of cracking ice fades, one thought lingers quietly but clearly. Some wonders don't ask for applause. They ask for silence.